Hey guys, Joel Seidman here. In this video I want to go over proper form and technique for lunges and split squats, and I want to do that because most individuals don't perform lunges and split squats correctly. So I want to kind of just jump right into this and go over some of the basic cues that are important as well as some of the cues to avoid. The most important thing is actually going to be making sure that you have an optimal forward lean or hip hinge mechanics. They basically go hand in hand with each other. So if you're just looking at me from the side here, it's absolutely imperative that the starting position starts with a good forward lean. If the person's too upright, or if they have hyperextension in their low back, or they're trying to squeeze their glutes too much at the beginning, which is actually a very common mistake, you'll often see a too upright or overly upright position. We actually want a very good forward lean and bent over torso with good hip hinge mechanics. And that's going to make sure that front knee isn't shooting forward. It's going to make sure that I'm putting good strain on the glutes and the hip muscles. And this back foot here, we also want it to be elevated. So we almost want this heel to be parallel to the wall and back and not sagging. That sagging back leg is a really common thing that you see in people when they do lunges, and it promotes this kind of lethargic hip activation pattern. So we're wanting tall, lean forward. If we start the lunge off with a proper starting position, okay, and a good forward lean, all we have to do after that is simply drop straight down. We're already in the correct slot. We just follow that down, okay? Nice and slow, the hips stay back. That knee doesn't go past the arch or midpoint of my foot. It doesn't do this, okay? And also, if you look at this, I've got good 90-degree mechanics going on here. Optimal mechanics, okay, or strong joint positioning, so to speak. There's not a lot of tension on my joints, on my knees, on my hip joints, low back. Everything's on the muscles so they can absorb force optimally. Another way to think of this that I like to have my clients kind of test and evaluate their lunge or split squat mechanics is with what I call a lunge to squat and squat to lunge test. So for this, we're gonna go into a lunge, okay? Get a nice forward lean, hips back, neutral spinal alignment. If my head is in neutral with the rest of my spine, my gaze will be slightly down. From there, okay, I should actually be able to go into a squat without changing anything, okay? Squat, lunge, squat, lunge. The mechanics stay the same because basically a lunge is pretty much a single leg squat. And if I did a lunge with the mechanics, a lot of people do this overly upright position and try to squat from there, I'm gonna lose my balance because I don't have my hips in back of me and my mechanics are totally messed up. So that's something that's really important to consider. The last thing that I wanna go over here is the alignment of the feet. So on this line here, intentionally, what we want to do is we want to have something called a semi-overlapping or semi-inline stride position, okay? All that means is that both feet will more or less be lined up with each other, okay? They may not be perfectly lined up, but at least half of my foot will be lined up with the other foot, okay? So about right there, you see, if I brought this foot up right here, it would kind of intersect about halfway of the other foot, or it can actually go around, but it'll never be out here, okay? Laterally pulled away from the other leg. You see this a lot when people do lunges. They'll be doing a lunge and one foot's out here and they're leaking energy and they're losing force production and they're really reinforcing dysfunctional hip mechanics that promote a lot of issues in the hips, groin pulls, some other hip issues that I'm not going to get into with this video, but we want everything to be pretty much lined up. So again, if I brought this back foot forward, okay, when I do a lunge, it should either come right to the side or slightly intersect this foot right here, okay? We don't want to go too much over because that can also kind of do some interesting things to the hips, but we don't want to have any gap or separation, or what I tell my clients, any daylight between these two feet. We want pretty much an overlapped or semi-overlapped position. So I think that's about the main things I want to go over for the lunge, but give those things a try and let me know what you think, all right? Thanks.